Undisputed. We're live from Los Angeles. I'm Joy Taylor here with Skip Bayless and Shannon.
Hi, Joy.
Good morning.
Shannon, you look good today. I like the tie. I like the thing and the suit and the shoes and the little boutonniere, whatever that is. I like all of it. I like the hair. Love the hair.
Are you going to let Joy?
You know what? It reminds me a little bit of I Dream a Genie.
Are you going to let Joy? Are you going to let Joy finish her read before you interrupt?
No. I'm just trying to be nice to you.
Joy was trying to finish the read. No, you try to pre-up me.
Right, yeah.
That's what you try to do. I see y'all two in cahoots again.
Yeah, well, we checked with each other last night just to make sure.
What you wearing, Skip? Let's make sure we match.
Okay.
Okay. Prom.
That's all right.
Yeah, but I like your outfit.
No. Don't try to butter me up. I don't believe anything you say.
Good morning, guys. Let's get started with Aaron Rodgers. He was interviewed by ESPN's Mina Kimes back in July and said Colin Kaepernick deserves to be on an NFL roster. Rodgers added that it would be, quote, ignorant to believe that the lack of interest has nothing to do with Kaepernick's activism. Rodgers said, I think he should be on a roster right now. I think because of his protests, he's not. I'm going to stand because that's the way I feel about the flag, but I'm also 100% supportive of my teammates or any fellow players who are choosing not to. They have a battle for racial equality. That's what they're trying to get a conversation started around. Shannon, how big of a deal is this?
Skip is a huge, huge deal. This is a Pantheon great quarterback, not currently playing, but a Pantheon great of all time that's currently playing. And he feels, now remember, Skip, this article was done in July sometime. And this is not after Charlottesville, so it's not 2020 hindsight. Mm-hmm. He's sitting down because he knows this, Skip. Colin Kaepernick can say, I've done something that no other quarterback in the NFL has ever done. I've beaten Aaron Rodgers twice in a playoff game.
That's true.
Once in his building, once in my building. It also destroys the narrative that Colin Kaepernick is not on the team because he can't play. We know Colin Kaepernick can play. Now, he didn't say Colin Kaepernick should be starting. I believe, you and I both believe, that Colin Kaepernick is a good enough quarterback to start. He said, but he should be on a roster.
Yep.
Given what he's been able to accomplish in the National Football League, even if you just take last year's number, forget that he went to the Super Bowl, he went to another NFC title game. The thing that I love most is that he could have avoided the topic. He could have said, I want to say this, but don't put my name. And source, NFL great quarterback currently playing, thinks Colin Kaepernick should be on the roster.
Yep.
That doesn't give it the same. That doesn't give it the same. That doesn't give it the same. Has a problem with gender equality. That's the only thing. And I'm nitpicking, Skip, and I don't want to nitpick.
No,
because
I got it. That word also hit me, that choice of, yes.
The term that So, Skip, that doesn't give it the same. Players know, like you said. Now, we go back and forth, and this one poll said Dak Prescott is the 77th best player. But the player said Dak is the 14th best player. And, we go into it every year around the Hall of Fame voting, Hall of Fame time, that players that are in the Hall of Fame should have a vote because the guys that are in that building knows what a Hall of Famer is.
Yep.
I would believe that Aaron Rodgers, he knows a good quarterback when he sees one. He believes that doesn't give it the same merit. His ability should have him on a roster. And think about the word that he used, Skip. And I told you I am very, very hesitant to use this word. He said ignorant. He said it would be ignorant to think that his activism. That doesn't give it the same. So kudos to Aaron Rodgers because he could have said nothing, Instead, he put his name behind it and said, I think Colin Kaepernick is good enough to be on the roster.
Once again, I'm going to disqualify myself because I'm coming at it from just the white perspective. Mm-hmm. But when this sort of hit the news wire, it was right at the end of our show yesterday, and we talked a little off camera about it, and you were excited.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, then and now, I can't get as excited as you are. I don't quite see it as a game-changing kind of quote. I hope it is. I hope it has impact. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure I get why it's so huge for him to say. I know is he the first white quarterback to speak out quite like this or speak up for Colin Kaepernick? Yeah. I guess so. And he's obviously one of the two best quarterbacks in football.
He's the first one to speak positive.
Yes.
Now, we've had Joe Montana to speak negative.
True. So this is just me. I needed to hear Aaron Rodgers say on opening Sunday, I'm going to kneel or sit for the anthem. That's a game changer.
Yes.
Okay. That's a big deal to me. That would send shockwaves through NFL front offices, I believe.
I believe those are two separate things, Skip. I think him saying that Colin Kaepernick is good enough to be on a roster, I think the other part of him kneeling, that would be the cause in which Colin Kaepernick kneeled for. So I believe those are two separate things. And like he says, I respect the flag, but I also understand, like I said, we're going to talk about it later. He's talked to Martellus Bennett. He's talked to Randall Cobb. He was a groomsman in Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
He was in his wedding. He's talked to guys that goes through this issue, and he said it. I've never had to face this. So I'm trying to understand what they have to go through on a daily basis.
I don't think there's any NFL quarterback more socially conscious than this man is. Mm-hmm. This is a deep thinker. Again, we're going to get way deep into this a little later in the show.
A lot deeper than I think you and I thought.
I learned a lot from him, and I gained much respect from reading that article for Aaron off the field, not on the field, but off the field.
Yes.
This is a complex man who thinks deeply about his religion and his place in the world. True. Okay, well, that's very different from all the all-time great quarterbacks with whom he's now competing for legacy.
Correct.
Not many deep thinkers on that list like this.
No.
Okay, so I'm with you on that. So it does have some impact, but it's more like image is everything. So you need to see the image of Aaron saying, "I feel so strongly about this. I'm going to sit for the opening day's national anthem." That's powerful, okay? Mm-hmm. But I get it. So I hope you're right about this. But to your point, he made the ignorant comment to the reporter first in July, and then he thought about it as they continued to do their magazine-length interviews. Mm-hmm. And she wrote that a couple of weeks later, he came back with the rest of the quote that he had thought carefully through.
Right.
But again, pre-Charlottesville, pre-LaShawn McCoy's anti-Kaepernick statements, pre-Jim Brown's I don't desecrate the flag statements, pre-George Foreman spoke out against all the protesters. You know, we've had all kinds of sort of negative backlash, even within the black community.
Correct.
So now it's not like Aaron said, I'm going to fight back. I'm going to respond to all that. He wasn't responding to anything. He was just making his own statement.
Yes.
Okay, so I think because we're getting to D-Day here, this is what I want to deal with right now. Okay. And I want your gut feeling on this. I don't want to put you on a spot, but I know you've thought about this. Where are we going with all this? What is the end game for Colin Kaepernick? What is the goal here? What's the best outcome that could happen for Colin and for, I'm going to say it one more time, he has already gone down in history as the face of and the voice of a crucial movement in this country's continued development along racial lines.
Correct.
To fight, to open, I think he's opened a bunch of eyes and a bunch of ears in the white community to racial inequality. So I think he's had dramatic positive impact so far, but where does it go from here for him? Right. What do you want to see happen from here?
You talking about on the field or
I don't know, because I can make the case that he would be better served not getting a job, going down as a martyr, if you will, as the face and voice of a movement, that he becomes the crusader that he's been so far. Maybe it's better that he's not on a roster, because what's the alternative? Do you want to see him be the third string quarterback or the second string quarterback, wherever that might be, holding a clipboard, standing on the sidelines, saying, nope, I'm going to stand for the anthem this year? Is that better? Would that help?
Skip, for me, and a lot of people have said early on that if there's an injury, Colin Kaepernick will get a call. Well, we saw two significant injuries.
Yep.
And Colin Kaepernick, I mean, the Ravens kind of tossed it around, but the likelihood they were going to sign him, considering that what their owner Steve Bisciotti said.
Yep.
And then we saw a situation in Miami. Okay, Adam Gase had familiarity with Jay Cutler. He called him down from our booth. Skip, but when you look at Buffalo,
and then we had Seattle, where it looked like they had a pretty glaring need potentially for a backup.
And we're seeing teams sign backup guys that haven't played in the league in 5-6 years, guys that hadn't thrown a pass ever in the NFL. So at this point in time, Skip, it's hard for me to believe that he's going to be on the roster, because we had all offseason, and everybody said when an injury happens in training camp, Colin Kaepernick is going to get a call. And with the exception of Seattle, they're the only ones that brought him in. And I don't know how much X's and O's they actually talked about. So Skip is getting down, as you said, D-Day. It's hard for me to believe at this juncture that someone's going to sign him, because you had an opportunity. You want somebody that's, let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip, you bring him in and your quarterback gets nicked. He's the second quarterback. Well, he's only been there a week. How much of the offense can you run? And see, this notion where you have to change your offense. So let me ask you a question, Skip. Do you actually think Scott Linehan called the exact same plays for Dak Prescott as he did Tony Romo?
He did not.
So in other words,
because Tony Romo's never run a read option in his life.
So in other words, they tailored the offense
they had
to fit what Dak Prescott did really well.
Clearly they did.
Same thing.
They had about 2 weeks to do that.
Right.
Yep.
But they tailored to what he can do well. Okay, what do you like here, Dak? What do you like? And so that's what you do.
I mean, obviously, Dak's a little more of a pocket passer than Colin is, but go ahead.
But they're making it seem like you got to run the wishbone with this young man.
No.
He threw the ball from the pocket, Skip. He threw for over 300 yards in a Super Bowl game. Doesn't that count for something?
Yep.
I mean, if he couldn't throw from the pocket, he threw for over 300 yards in a Super Bowl game.
For a bad team last year, he had 16 touchdown passes to 4 interceptions. That's pretty good.
Skip, and
tell you.
When he went on this path, I haven't talked to Colin in great detail. I don't think martyrdom is what he was thinking of.
Martyrdom, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he was thinking.
I'm sure he wasn't.
I think he's like, this is not right. We live in America. We live in a great country. And we should all be treated equally. But what I'm seeing, it doesn't seem right to me. Now, he could have kept his mouth shut, make his $16 million, and guess what? When the 49ers, they flip over the staff, they're going to go in a different direction, Colin Kaepernick would have been on the team. But he said, what I'm seeing, is it right?
Yep.
I can't live with myself. I can't sleep at night if I don't say at least something. And it got him here.
Okay, so this is what I believe from what I know. If Colin had agreed to meet with Jim Brown, and I know you've had issues with Jim. You were hard on him the other day, and you deserve to be. I get it. I have no issue with that.
Okay.
But if he had sat with Jim Brown or sat with the people from the Fritz Pollard Alliance, especially John Wooten, I believe that right now, Colin Kaepernick would be the backup quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Would you like that? Deshaun Kaiser obviously is going to be the starter.
Right.
I believe Colin would be the backup right now, but he would have had to have sat with those people and said, okay, this is where I am in my life, my career, my thinking, and I still think he felt like, why would I have to do that when no other quarterback getting a backup job would have to submit to that?
Right.
That it would come across as a form of, quote unquote, begging for a job. And I get it from his point, but they just wanted to hear from the young man where he is. Where's his head right now? Where's his emotions? What's going on? But my question to you is, to what end is that? To be the backup quarterback for a team that is in all-out rebuild mode now? They're just tearing it down, man. Joe Hayden's gone. Cam Irving, he's out. They've loaded up. Do you see the draft picks that Cleveland has in the next draft?
They can have
2 1s, 3 2s, then multiple 4, 5, and 6.
2 4s. Yeah, they got about 12. They have about 12 draft picks.
So they are looking long term.
Right.
Do you want Colin subjected to that? Is that where he should be? I don't know. Does he deserve better than that? So I'm just throwing it out. What's the end game? What's the best result for him?
Deserve I think is a loaded word. I don't know if Colin Kaepernick deserves. I think he's earned a right to be on a roster, given his history, his pedigree, and what he's been able to accomplish.
No doubt.
Even if you just take 2016 in a vacuum in and of itself. For me, who's to say that if he goes in as a backup at the start of camp, Brock Osweiler gets the start, who's to say that Deshaun Kaiser can pass him? He might have been. Hell, he was on the rebuilding team last year.
He was.
So he's been through this situation before. Skip, I don't know. I just know his passion is football. He has 2 passions. He has passion for football and this racial inequality and the brutalization of unarmed black men and women, people of color, by the hands of the police. Those are his 2 passions. I believe you can do things. They make it seem like, Skip, he's going to be trying to do it while they're calling a play, like he's going to be taking a knee. Or he's trying to lead a protest while the game is going on.
That they just fear he's going to be torn in too many different directions, that he's going to be asked to be the leader of a movement, it could be a full-time job. That's all they're fearful of. And then there was the Monday Morning Quarterback piece that came out today. I think you looked at it.
Yep.
So it's a lot of anonymous quotes from NFL execs saying it's not blackballed. He just doesn't have the skill set to be a backup quarterback.
And you know what I heard? You know what I heard? What I heard that, Skip? I heard all those same big execs say the same thing about cigarettes. Cigarettes aren't dangerous. Nicotine isn't addictive. Every last one of them.
Yep.
They even got before Congress and said it. But when the rubber met the road and they had to give an account, all of them, yes.
They all lost.
Exactly. So the thing is, Skip.
And by the way, their point was RG3 in the same boat, but nobody's talking about RG3 that and by the way, RG3 did have 1 year better than any that Collins had, because that was a Pro Bowl year, his rookie year.
He went to the Pro Bowl, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yep. The difference is he got hurt.
Right.
And he never bounced back from getting hurt.
Right.
He lost his legs, and then he lost his confidence. And Robert can throw it okay. He's pretty good from the pocket. He was at Baylor, I can tell you that.
But he was never the same, after that
You know?
injury. Colin Kaepernick took a team back to the NFC title game, Skip.
He did. So there's some intangibles there that you have to love. But in Robert's case, it looks like Robert's, is he out? Is this it? Is it over?
The thing is, Skip, if you like Colin Kaepernick, if you like what he can bring to a team, you like, you know what, this guy has a skill set. We can do some things. Is he Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady from the pocket? No. But he can throw from the pocket, and he still has legs. But if you don't, you'll find every excuse imaginable to say why he's not on the team or why he's not on the team. And even one general manager said, I just don't like the guy. He said he don't like him. So once you don't like a guy, it doesn't matter. He can throw. He can throw from the pocket.
Yep.
But once you're out, you're out. So there's no coming back to the middle for that general manager or head coach or whomever said that. But Skip, I think Aaron Rodgers saying what he said, because he didn't have to say it.
No.
He could have done like a lot of guys, pretend like the situation isn't happening. But for him to say this in July and then to come back and says, not try and clean it up, says, I still.
No, he didn't clean it. He expounded.
Yes. Skip, I think this is huge. I think it's huge for Kaepernick. Now, he says he wants to learn more, talking to Martellus Bennett, who's great on social issues, Randall Cobb, who's from Tennessee, went to Kentucky. He's learning more. I think he will be more outspoken, because he says the one thing that's hindering a lot of NFL players from being socially active is they don't have guaranteed contracts. He said, I'm envious of the NBA players. And I don't think it's because they have guaranteed money. He's like, they're able to speak on issues without repercussions.
True. Well, I think he is too. I think he's big enough that he can. Well, he just did.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it was a very impressive piece, and he is right. It is ignorant to believe that he's not on a roster, not because of his skills. And those quotes in the Albert Breer piece are pretty obvious. I mean, there's quarterbacks in the NFL you feel comfortable. They've never been to a Super Bowl. They've never been to an NFC Championship game. You don't have to cater any of your offense to them. So
Tyrod Taylor is running the exact same offense that Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers. He's running that same type of offense. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, it's the same thing that we've been saying this whole time. Not every team actually cares about winning.
No.
That's what it is.
Blake Bortles.
Who won the Kyrie trade? The Cavs or the Celtics? We'll discuss that next.